Spillard is a complex interplay of matter and energy in a pattern of waves whose probability cloud is densest in York, United Kingdom. This has not always been the case. Much earlier, the pattern spent a year in Seattle, USA. There is a mysterious process not yet fully understood by science. Impressions of space travel, including the moon landings, permanently modified the young pattern's quantum-based self-awareness mechanisms. The first thing I'm going to ask you is the first thing that struck me when I was reading the book, which is, how autobiographical is The Price of Time?
Everybody feels at some point that there is someone or something deliberately going around setting about the business of messing their life up. You know, it just kind of, you get the feeling sometimes that you're exerting all this effort and it's for nothing.
Yeah.
But I'm a natural optimist and I don't think that it's completely hopeless. So I put it down to somebody just generally being mischievous and going around doing this kind of stuff just for their own entertainment and just to wind people up for their own entertainment.
And that's the concept of the guardian
that's
devil.
That's the concept of the guardian devil.
Which is central to the book.
At the computer late one night, minding her own business, writing some stuff, and she switches it off and turns around slightly more quickly than usual and finds over her right shoulder this character, Stan Mills, who turns out to be her guardian devil. But the worst thing of all about having found him is that, you know, sometimes when you see something, you know that you've never seen it before, and yet somehow it seems familiar. Stan Satanic Mills.
And so just tell me a little bit about, because I've read the book and I find him quite an interesting individual.
He's a very erudite villain. He's a very, you know, if you must create a villain, create somebody who has these certain properties. He can coalesce into a person and look like a person, but he's made out of fear. So whenever there is fear in a room, he is there.
Verity's the protagonist who's taking him on, and she stands for what?
At the beginning of the story, at least, she never lies. That's like her trademark. She wants to live up to her name, Verity. So she always tells the truth, and she's always honest. At the beginning of the story, she's a bit of a goody two-shoes, actually, you know, and she would be a bit boring if she stayed like that, but she doesn't stay like that. It gets messy, and some of his fiendishness rubs off on her. Because it has to.
But it does seem to be a bit of a good and evil thing going on. He's basically trying to ruin the world, and she's basically made her life out of being an eco-warrior. Is that fair?
To stop the world being ruined.
But this extract, I think, is taking place in York Dungeon. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Just in a lead up to it, one of the things that's happened is that she earned, using one of these forfeits, she earned the right to find out how one of the appliances that he uses works to cast spells on people, and she found out the way that the spell could be broke. She playing a penalty card, she found out how the spell could be broken. The device is called the apple, and actually that's it there, that is the apple. And
but it isn't literally the apple, because we don't have to flee for our lives.
It looks very like it, but if you put it into somebody's hands and say the phrase, you can never have enough, you can never have enough tea, you can never have enough empathy, you can never have enough conversation, you can never have enough, then the victim, the person who holds it, will suddenly have the impression that they don't have enough of anything. That's it. It's chapter 13, appropriately enough, and it's called Bloody Tourists, because I live in York and people say bloody tourists. It was the night after Guy Fawkes. Verity woke up in an odd position. When she tried to rub the sleep from her eyes, she found she couldn't reach them with her hands. She couldn't even turn to check the time. Something prevented her legs from moving, and the room sounded strange, not with its usual softness. "Here, let me," said a voice, and somebody carefully wiped the sleep from her eyes. She recognised the voice, Mills. But when she opened her eyes, she found the room unfamiliar to her, mainly black and red. The ceiling, higher than it should be, loomed in shadows. She noticed spotlights. Thankfully, they hadn't been switched on. She was in her dressing gown, a full-length, deep green silk wraparound that Sacha said gave her a medieval air. Sacha's her husband, by the way. "Where is this? Do you know the city's torture museum? I've never wanted to go there. I don't even like the idea of it. "Well, you're here now, lass. You're on the rack." "And what?" She tugged her left arm, the cold manacle bit at her wrist. The same happened when she tried to move her feet. Bare feet ached with cold. There were chains. She gasped for breath. She heard Mills explaining something. She learns partway through the book that everybody has a sixth sense which enables them to see fear as like a coloured aura around someone. There's a way out. There are two ways out that get shown in the book. One for humanity in general, which if I told you I'd have to kill you because it would ruin the entire thingy of the book.
Yes.
And the other is as a person, you can go into your mind and look at what there is there. And in the story, when Verity does this, she finds it's a physical place. It's like a big fancy house with lots of rooms with all the things in it that she can remember or that she knows or that she can do.
I wonder if you felt worried about the position you probably do show on issues in the book.
Well, she's a Green campaigner, so by definition she's political.
Of course, yeah.
Politics are green. Politics happens in the story. The thing that is destroying the world that she identifies and that she shows the reader at the end of the story is a political thing, although it's a thing that we all take for granted. We don't associate it with a political party because all political parties espouse it.
In fact, one of the scenes in the book is particularly going back to my mind when I'm about to list this, because she actually stands in the York dungeon and either an image of or a sort of projection of the globe is floating in front of her.
Right.
And she actually physically interacts with it.
Yeah, she gets to feel what the globe is feeling.
Yes.
It's 2 degrees hotter than it should be, so she gets a fever. Hot flash. And so on. It's part of it is burning. The palms of her hands burn.
On what was it she burns her hands on?
On a Brazilian rainforest. It's all very good humoured. I mean, I made it sound quite weird, but actually, she's putting up a fight, and it's good humoured, and she does.
I'd say if I had to describe it, I'd say it's good fun, with a lot of thought having been triggered as you've read it. It isn't all set in York Dungeon on the back,
It's not.
But that was a highlight for me. But I'm strange.